Hi, my name is William and you're welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss something in detail that I've talked about before. This is about making a lesson plan. And I'm making this video particularly because I got a comment in the comment section. Someone asked about the lesson plan. So if there's something in particular that you want me to talk about, you can leave a comment down below and then I'll address it as soon as I can. So let's get into making a lesson plan for today. Let's take it from the top. Now, it is no doubt that a lesson plan is one of the most essential things when you're a teacher. When you need to teach something, you need to make a plan. You need to write down some things that you're going to use during your lesson. So we all know what a lesson plan is supposed to do for you. A lesson plan is supposed to make sure you have a set of goals going into your lesson. And then also when you come out of your lesson, you know what to look on in order to know whether you achieved what you're supposed to do during your lesson. It's basically these things. Besides the fact that your school leaders or whoever would put a lot of pressure on you to write this but the main thing is for you yourself. And if you're a teacher, this is something that you need. So I'm guessing usually we all have a book that we use for the semester. Our school has a book, or personally, we have a book that we choose to use for teaching our kids. And usually I make a plan for the week. Okay, you can see, so this is week 1, and week 1 is going to cover from February 20th to February 24th. And the reference is actually the book from which I'm taking this particular lesson and the particular unit and week that this lesson plan is supposed to address. Now, the theme for this particular week is my family, and that's over there. You can see it. I'm going to be taking it one by one as we go along. So that's the theme, and this is supposed to be a summary of what we're supposed to learn for the week. So the summary for the week: learners learn about vocabulary in the home setting. They also learn corresponding dialogues. So that's what we are supposed to do for this particular week. Now, the week, obviously, in my school, in every day of the week, our bilingual class has an English lesson. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And therefore, this is my lesson for Monday, my lesson for Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And this lesson plan is going to cover Monday. So I'm going to make a lesson plan for Monday. So let's go down to the lesson plan itself. Now, when you're making the lesson plan, you obviously have to state your subject. You have to state, well, in the lesson plan, usually people write the lesson plan and give it to their leader to look through. So it also helps if you provide some of these information in your lesson plan. And this plan is for kindergarten 1. It's for our cultural exchange class 1. So that's the room, the name of the room, or the name of the class as well. Now we also have our day and date. Very obvious, you can see that. Now I state the reference here so that I'm clear on what I'm taking this particular topic from to make this lesson plan. So also we have a lesson title, which is my family. Okay, we have a lesson type. So this is vocabulary. So I know that today what I'm supposed to focus on, I'm focusing on vocabulary. Like when you come up here, you realize that under lesson type, I have vocabulary. I teach that on Monday, then I teach the dialogue on Tuesday, then phonics, and then supplementary, and then some games and all that. Now going back, okay, so lesson type. Then I come to my KPIs, which are key performance indicators. That's, to state in other terms, those are your lesson aims. And for this lesson, I have learners should be able to identify flashcards and say, daddy, mommy, and family. So this is what I want to achieve during this particular lesson. During this particular lesson, that is exactly what I want to achieve. And your lesson aim, your KPI should be as clear as possible, because when you walk out of the classroom, you should be able to say very simply, was I able to achieve this? It should be as clear as possible to you and to everyone who asks this. Now, I also state anticipations and some considerations on how I will deal with those anticipations. So, for example, some people will say possible difficulties or some of the problems you might encounter during teaching this particular topic. So, for example, number one, students might have a problem or difficulty saying family. And after teaching this in the past, I do realize that sometimes the kids have a difficulty being able to say this particular word. So I've stated it there. I know this from experience. So I've stated this there. And number two, I'm saying I'm going to teach it gradually and progressively. And I'm going to teach words first and no sentences. Sometimes I might bring in sentences, but I'm specifically in this lesson saying that don't bring up a lot of sentences. Just don't bring up sentences. Just teach the words. Now, number three, I'm going to pay attention to pronunciation of words. So while playing my games and during my activities, I'm going to pay particular attention to these. Now, the next is resources. And under resources, I usually use flashcards. My school has a courseware, which I'm going to use. And I'm going to use a Rain, Rain, Go Away song by Super Simple. And in this particular song, actually, it's a really good song that I love. And when you listen to the song actually introduces the family. So usually, what I do is I'll play the song and let them listen, and then I'll do something with the song. This is actually the song. You can check it out. So moving on. I'm going to use a hammer. I'm going to use that to play games. I'm going to use stickers as well as a form of class control. So these are the resources that I need going into this lesson. Now, this is just an extra step for me to have a perspective on some of the, passive things that the kids are going to encounter, which is the core competence. You don't really need to do this one, but, let's just mention it briefly. So, communication and collaboration, personal development and leadership, creativity and innovation, critical thinking, and problem solving. These are some of the things that passively they're gonna help the kids. Okay. So, I always divide my plan or my lesson into quadrants. And I've made a video talking about my lesson quadrants before, but just briefly. So for instance, in this lesson plan, I have three phases. So I have phase one, I have phase two, and then also I have down here I have phase three. Okay, down here I also have phase three right here. So we're going to take a phase at a time. And in phase one, I have these three things. I have introduction, I talk about the rules, and I have a warm up. So it's introduction and warm up, something to get the place where we prepare the brain for for learning, where we prepare the kids to be active. I make them active and ready to get into the lesson. You know what I mean? Okay, so under the introduction, this part works like clockwork. This part is something that you don't need to think too much about. This part is usually a rapport segment, a time where sometimes one of the things that I've realized is that and you probably have to, when the kids are dull, it's difficult for them to get into that mood to learn. And that is what this part is good for. So usually I usually say hello. The kids will say, hello, teacher William. If you've watched my videos, my class teaching videos, and I have a lot on my channel, you can check them out. I have behind the scenes where I show you an entire lesson. So you can check those out. I say, how are you? And they say, I'm fine, thank you. I say, nice to see you. And they say, nice to see you too. Sometimes I might add something like, how's the weather today? Those are for the classes where I have already taught them the weather. So when you've taught them sunny, rainy, cloudy, snowy, you can bring that also in. And then they'll say, it's snowy today, it's rainy today. But in this lesson, this class, it's kindergarten 1. I haven't taught them that yet, so I can't bring that in. Now we go to the rules. So the teacher, that's me, will say, look, stickers. And every child loves stickers. Well, until they are fed up, anyways. If you're good, I'll give you 1. If you're bad, I'll take it away. If you answer Teacher William will give you a sticker. Then I'll place a chair in the corner. Whoever is bad, and then I'll tell them, whoever is bad will sit on this chair. Do we agree? Usually, I've realized that one of the things that is really good when you are teaching with kids, when you're teaching kids, is to sometimes come to a form of agreement with them. So instead of saying the form of punishment that I'll put you on the chair in the corner, let them know, let them understand that, okay, hey, you and me, we are agreeing, right? This is lesson time. So if you don't do what Teacher William is saying, do we agree that I can let you sit on that chair over there? And when they say okay, and then the punishment time comes, they already know what they agreed to. So it makes things easier. Now we get to warm up. Now I'm going to say, let's sing and because I've taught them already, they'll respond song. And then we say it together, let's sing a song. And then we go there. Hey, buddy. Okay, I have a cat roaming around. Okay, so we will sing Rain, Rain, Go Away by Super Simple, which I've showed you already. So that'll be it for that. And then, okay, now let's get to phase 2. So phase 2 is where my main lesson is. And if you have seen the methodology for teaching ESL, for teaching in general, you might have come across the 3 P's, the PPP. Let's bundle leading and put it somewhere. And let's look at the 3 P's, which is presentation, practice, and production. And phase 2 is where that actually happens. So sometimes let's just talk about the 3 P's for now. Sometimes I have a review segment, but in this lesson, I'm not going to do a review. So I'll just put review aside and let's talk about the 3 P's. So P1 is presentation, where you're going to let the children discover the word and also teach them what it is. P2 is practice, where you're going to get them to repeat the word, say it a couple of times, have an interaction with the word. And then production is like a little test where you want to see if they can produce what you've taught them. You want to see whether they can do it by themselves. So those are the 3 P's. And I'm sure you know that already, but well, just mentioning it. Now, looking at word 1, I'm going to break down all the words. So just a little tip. Okay, so for instance, if you're teaching one word, you're going to have to do P1, P2, P3 for that one word. If you're teaching 2 words, you're going to have to do P1, P2 for one word, do P1, P2 for the second word, and then you put them together. And then you're going to practice the two words together. And then you're going to have to do production finally for the 2 words. Okay, now moving on. So I'll pick word number 1 in my plan. I'll actually leave this plan. I'll try and leave a link to this plan so that you can download it, however, and then you can take a look at it. Now, P1. First of all, I'm going to teach the word daddy. And P1, which is presentation 1, presentation says, use the song. Pause at daddy. Ask the students, who's this? And allow them to guess. So what I do is this. I usually play the song. And when it gets here, like that, then I'll pause the song. And then I'm going to ask them, who's this? And you find them trying to guess. You find them trying to say, usually they say it in the local dialect. So You get them guessing, and then at that point, you know that they've been able to identify what you're trying to teach them, although they don't know the word you're trying to teach yet. So at this point, then I'll come in, I'll show them the flashcard, and then I'll say, daddy. According to my anticipated issues, anticipations, I'm not going to do sentences. So I'm not going to say it's daddy, or I'm not going to do that yet. So according to my plan, I'm just going to say, oh, daddy, this is daddy. Just show the flashcard and say, okay, let's say daddy. And you need to know where to put the inflections in your voice so that the kids know which word is important in the sentence you just said. So let's say daddy, and they all know, and somehow magically they all say daddy. Now P2, which is practice, I'm going to let the kids tap the flashcard with one hand, and then they're going to say daddy. So I raise the flashcard like that. I think I should have some flashcards around. I'm going to let the kids tap the flashcard with one hand and say the word daddy. So flashcard like that. I'll actually put a video up so that you can see it. And they tap the word and say daddy. Now I put a little note over here, PS, to say that, okay, listen to their pronunciation and do an individual or collective correction if there's a pattern to the error. So what this means is usually you realize that where one child is having a difficulty with the word, another child might be having the same difficulty. And instead of continuing to correct every child one by one, when I go through a few kids, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and I notice the pattern, I'll step back again and I'll show them all the flashcards, and then I'll try and correct them all. So for instance, if I realize that the first child is saying daddy, yeah, the second child is saying daddy, yeah, then I realize that, okay, the tone they add at the end is the problem. Then I'll come back. Then I'll say, okay, let's say daddy, and I'll listen to all of them again. And then I'll say, it's not daddy, yeah, it's daddy. And I'll try and correct them together. So that's what this little PS is. Now, after playing this game with all the kids one by one and listening to them and correcting them, I'm going to put that card down, and then I'm going to pick up the second card, which is mommy. And then we're going to go over again. P1, presentation, you remember. Play the song, pause it, add mommy, ask the students, who's this? Allow them to guess, and show the flashcard and say mommy. Same thing, like clockwork. Then practice number 2, practice for the second word. Let the kids jump and head the flashcard. So it's a game where they jump. You've probably seen it. I'll put it up. And they'll use their head to head the flashcard. And then, while you hold it above them, now listen carefully to their pronunciation again. Now, this time, pay attention to safety, because I know this game, because they're jumping, sometimes when they stand in front of their chair, their legs are going to hit the chair, or during their landing, it might not be safe. So I'm saying that pay attention to safety as they jump. Bring them from their seat if it's unsafe. So if, for example, if it's not really convenient, I'll let the child come forward away from the seat, and then we'll do the game. We'll play the game. So these are little notes that I put in there so that I'm sure of what to do. Now, after these 2 words, as I said, I'm going to have to do practice, which is P2, for just these 2 words. After teaching one word, teaching the second word, you put those 2 words together. Even before the third word is going to come, I'm going to put these 2 together, and I'm going to practice these 2 words. So what I do is, okay, I'm going to say, show the flashcard one by one and let the kids say the word. So I'm going to raise, okay, what's this? And I bring the next. Okay, so show the flashcards one by one and let the kids say the word. So I'm going to bring 1, okay, 1. And then next, I'm going to squat, go down, let them say it slowly. So I'll say father or daddy, daddy. And they'll also mimic it, they'll say daddy. And then, okay, and let the kids say the words one by one in a low voice. Then I'll stand up and raise the cards. And then I'll say it in a loud voice, and they all shout, daddy. So I'll do this for daddy a couple of times, and I'll do this for mommy a couple of times. And then that would be it. Now, the in between, let the kids finish watching and singing along the song, Rain, Rain, Go Away. So, this is just like a period where the in between is like a period where I let the kids rest a little. And those who want to drink water, I let them go drink water. Those who want to go use the washroom, those who want to go pee, I just let them go. Then, with word number 3, we continue. Now, this third word is family that I'm going to teach. Now, P1, you remember again, presentation. So I'm going to show a picture of a family. And I actually should have put that in my resources, a picture of a family. Okay, so let's go back down. Okay, and I'm going to show a picture of a family, and then I'm going to ask the kids, what can you see? Now, when I ask what can you see, because they're small, they might not understand what I mean by that. So I'm going to let the class teacher actually say it in Chinese. 能看到什么? In Chinese, that's what it means. 能看见什么 or 能看到什么? You know, the class teacher is going to make them aware of what Teacher William is asking them. It's best if I don't use the Chinese, but hey, sometimes I do. And now allow the kids to guess and then teach them to say family. So I'm going to teach them family. Okay, this is family. And, now we go to P2. P2, remember, is practice. Now we're going to play the clap game. I'm going to stretch out one hand, right hand, and I'm going to say fa. Okay. And then stretch out the left hand and say me. And then I'm going to clap the hands together and say lay. So we're going to say family. And then we're going to do that we're going to do that gradually increase the tempo until it's a smooth word family. So we're going to family, and then it goes like that. So that's for this particular practice game. Now I'm going to put the 3 words together and I'm going to practice the 3 words. So I'm going to do P2 for the 3 words. Remember, you have taught 2 words. You have to practice 2 words. Then you teach 3 words. Then you have to practice 3 words as well. Don't forget that. So now for the 3 words together, I'm going to use the crossword. And the courseware has a picture of the words, and it's the flashcards, form of flashcards on the TV and all that. So I'm gonna let the kids repeat each word one by one. So I'll show the first one. We all say daddy. I'm going to show the second one. We all say mommy. I'll show the third one. We all say family. Now, there are a couple of games in the courseware. One is a fishing game. So I'm going to let the kids play. It's a form of a group game where the other kids are watching. And interestingly, they're going to keep shouting, it's this one, it's this one, it's this one. And it's fun for the kids. And then they play that game. So I'm going to use a fishing game in the courseware so the kids can practice the words randomly. Now, P3 is production. Now we get to production. This is the point where before this, you need to be aware that although there's an entire segment dedicated to production for these 3 words, you also have to passively try and put in some form of production in between every word you teach. For every word you teach, just a sub level of it, like just a passive one, just not passive anyways, active. Just ask them, before, even during the practice, when you're doing it together with them, at some point you can skip saying it and then you ask them to see if they're coming along with you. Now, production for these 3 words, that's P3. So play the hammer game. I'm going to place the flashcards on the floor, give a child a hammer, let the child hammer each flashcard and say the word. Now, P.S., assist them with the beginning sound of the word if necessary. So, for example, when the child is looking at daddy and they can't seem to remember, I'm going to say da. And when they can say daddy, okay, then I know, right? Well, what is left is just repetition. They've gotten what the word is. Now, then I'm done with that. So the next phase is phase 3. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes of this review and then exit. So we're on phase 3 right now. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is cycle through the cats and let the whole class repeat after me. So that's phase 3. That's like a final review of everything I taught. And then now I'm going to pick out and line up a few kids who have unusual difficulty. So definitely, in every class there are some kids who aren't so fast. It could be due to a lot of reasons, biological development. It could be maybe they are not up to speed with lessons, So sometimes I line them up by the side and then I'll let them repeat, okay, daddy, mommy, family, and then the child goes and sits down one by one. So I line them up by the side and help them repeat the words one by one. Then goodbye, that's closure. And then students say goodbye, teacher William. And then that's it. Now, post lesson, after I'm done with the lesson, I'm going to look at my KPIs and I'm going to say where my KPIs met. Where my KPIs met. If no, I'm going to state why. For example, if I wasn't able to teach family, I'm going to say because there wasn't enough time. If I wasn't able to play a game, I'm going to put it in there. For example, this game was too difficult. This helps for next time when you're going to teach the same level of kids or when you're going to prepare some kind of content for another time. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how was class control? If it was good, I'm going to say yes, so that I know I have a fair idea of what to do next time. On a scale of 1 to 5, how was support from the class teacher? That's also important for me. So the final one is activities. I usually record and send homework to the parents each and every day after the lesson. So I'm going to record the homework, with a portrait video with the flashcard, and then I'll send it to the parents. Now, secondly, communicate particular student performances and behavior with class teacher if necessary for correction and encouragement. So one thing I usually do, and I think this is really important because during my lesson, for example, if there was a kid that's not paying attention, I'm going to tell the class teacher to talk to the parent. If there's a kid who's lacking behind, I'm going to tell the teacher to talk to the parent, tell them to, this child, we are doing our best here, but if you want things to become better, you're going to have to help us. You're going to have to do some work as well at home. So that's it. And that is like the final page. And I'll do this for each and every lesson. So I'll do this for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I actually don't make a lesson plan for every lesson. Why? Because I teach at least 10 lessons each and every day. So if I'm going to make a lesson plan for every lesson, that means I'm going to make what? 10 times 5, 50 lesson plans for a week? Oh, no. No, boy. Okay, so, but usually I make a guidance lesson plan, especially for lessons that I haven't taught before. And at this point, I've taught lessons so many times that I can pick up and visualize a lesson at any time and just go teach it. Hey, disclaimer, you have to make a lesson plan because it's important, especially if your administration requires it. So this is what my lesson plans look like, so you can take whatever you could from it. So thank you for watching this one. I'm William. Please do subscribe. It's very helpful. It's very important. So thank you. Subscribe if you like this video, if you like the content. Do hit the subscribe button and do hit the like button. Thank you if you're new for coming to my channel, and if you've been watching always and supporting, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one. I'm William. Goodbye. Hey, Kathy, 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 Kathy.